Hey, good morning, comrades. Hope everyone's doing great. We're here to talk about my favorite SWAT game, no fucking lie, Tactical Advantage, the PSP SWAT game. And this is the last Sierra SWAT game we'll be talking about. There's a couple mobile games that, like, meh. And then there was a PS2 game that, like, I couldn't find, like, very easily. And so I just kind of, like, it looked pretty non-SWAT-y. It looked more like an action game. More than anything else, and what I read, it was kind of not like the rest of the games. Talking about the Tactical Advantage, which is, again, this is the SWAT game for the PSP. So I played it on the PSP PPP or whatever emulator, which is one of the best emulators I've ever played. It's got like built-in everything. Like you can just like slot stuff in. It's super easy. Like I remember playing Nesticle back in the day, and that thing was like getting DOSBox to work, and DOSBox is a whole other fucking thing. But probably because, yeah. But this is just like, I've never had an issue with this at all when I've played PSP games. And then like up-reses too, because I'm playing it on like I'm playing a PSP game on an emulator on a 64-inch monitor, and like there's not like grainy effect, there's not like pixelation. It looks fantastic. So whoever created this, God bless them. They're a fantastic coder or whatever. Anyway, so the Tactical Advantage situation is that you play from like a bird's eye view, like it's an isometric tactical game, which works very well. And instead of having your team of 5, you have a team of 3. So you still got blue team, red team options. And the game is like kind of complicated at first, but because, you know, in the other one, it's like you hold the button to like give commands, and you can switch, like you have a whole keyboard and a mouse to use. This, you got like 6 buttons. You have the left and right button on the top, and then like X, triangle, square, circle. And that's all you get. And so you're like, wow, how are they going to like translate this over? And they translate it pretty well. A lot of it is just like holding buttons down. So you press circle, you hold circle down. So any command you want to give, like if you're going to like tell guys to like assault a door, there's like the auto command, kind of like in SWAT 4. Where you just press spacebar, and it will like, it already is like decided, like it's like, oh hey, if I'm looking at a door, it's gonna automatically tell them to like open the door, and then if it's locked, it'll tell them to like unlock the door. If I'm looking at like a suspect on the ground, or like a hostage on the ground with their hands up, it's gonna be like, handcuff them or whatever, zip tie, whatever it is. And so, that is. So for this, it's like, it says the same thing. Like you'll walk up to a door, and if your guy's like facing a door, like it'll have on the bottom left, it has it kind of has the command. And if you just like hold the button down, and so I'm trying to remember, I think it's always like square is to order your guys around, and then circle is to like just for yourself, or it might be X. No, X shoots. And then if you hold the button down, so if you walk up to a door and you hold it down, you can breach it. Otherwise, you'll just like open the door, and if you can't open it because it's locked, you can just press it and it'll unlock it. You don't have to hold it down. But if you hold it down, you can choose to breach or do whatever else instead. Or if you hold square instead, you can like order your guys to do it. And then you can, if you hold the left button on the top, it brings up like this reticule. I didn't use this very much, but then you can like use the right button, and you can like switch between guys. So you can order like one guy to shoot that guy, one other guy to go do this. Like you can get more advanced. I played every level on easy, so it was really unnecessary. There was a couple levels, like specifically the very last boss of this game is like it's like it is so ridiculous that the whole game I was just like, whatever, I'm just playing through this. At some point, what did I do? Like the cheats that were built into the PSP, or like built into like the file that I downloaded that had like 100,000 games on it or whatever. It only had like unlimited ammo and unlimited grenades, I want to say, which is fine, but I never needed it. Like like at some point I just turned it on because I was trying to like see if it would help with like the final boss, but it didn't, and so I just had to like save scum to get through that thing. But other than that, I honestly didn't have to cheat on easy. Like the whole game was pretty straightforward and simple, and it's got an experience system because fucking really not. So after you beat a level, you get points like you always do in the last since SWAT 2. But now like the points actually do something instead of just being like, congratulations, try to do better next time. Now it's like you can at certain intervals, like it stacks like experience points, and then you can you just automatically level up like the rest of your characters. And the characters, there's 4 characters, so you can choose 2 to go with you. There's like, I can't remember all the names. There's like Hollywood. I remember Hollywood because it's ridiculous. And then like 3 other guys, and each guy has like a specialty, and so their specialty levels up. So like one guy's good at interrogating, and so every time you arrest somebody or you get, you can like interrogate them, and then his like his specialty is pointless because it never really did anything. Like some characters, you have to, for certain missions, you have to interrogate to get information on like where like a suitcase is or where the boss is or what the boss looks like. But like I never used that guy and I never had an issue with it, so I was like whatever. Then one guy is like a less than lethal specialist, and I used him like the whole game because I was trying to do most of the stuff in less than lethal so I get more experience points. There's a couple missions where I was like YOLO, time to murder everybody because fuck this. And you can just switch in the game. Like you're always equipped. You always have. You get a less than lethal option. You get a lethal option, and then you get a sidearm. The sidearm I never, like in the first level, I found like an extra. I found like a weapon, and then like there's another level later on where I found another weapon. But other than that, like I didn't find anything. So I'm assuming they're out there, and I just didn't look hard enough. And then once you unlock them, you can use them. But I pretty much just used the shotgun with the beanbag as less than lethal, and it worked fine. I tried the stun gun that I found in one of the levels, and I don't know. It was hard to aim unless you use like the L button and like force aim. And then you can also just like walk up to guys and like punch them. And on easy mode, that was usually like the best course of action because you're just like moving around and the dudes are like not that far away. Like no one's like sniping you from off screen. Well, that's not true. That does happen. That's part of the reason the last boss is such an asshole. But aside from him, you can kind of just like wander up to dudes. Like you just kind of stay behind cover and wander up and start just like punching them in the face until they give up. So, which was a lot faster than like trying to aim and do all that other stuff, which is interesting. And then honestly, your other guys, they tend to handle things pretty well. So, oh yeah, and when they level up, they just level up like their specialty. There's a guy who's just more accurate, so I definitely brought him along. And that's kind of it for that. You play through, there's 12 missions. Each mission is kind of different. Each level is pretty big. They have multiple levels. Generally, it's the same thing. You just like clear rooms, get guys, capture hostages, capture them, interrogate them, and find stuff. And we'll go through each level. But the reason this is my favorite one is because it actually has an overarching story. And you know, the second one did, but the second one was such hot shit that like, under no circumstance was that a game worth playing. So even though it did have like a kind of interesting story, it was just such total fucking garbage that it was definitely not worth playing at all. But I'm trying to think if there's anything else about the game that we need to discuss before we get into the plot. I don't think there is. Okay, if there is, it'll come up when we play. So as I mentioned before, this game can get kind of tricky on how to actually play it and stuff. But the game has a pretty good tutorial, and like if you just try to start the game, it's like, hey, maybe you should try the tutorial first. And when you do, you go through and you learn how to do all like the stuff, and it's pretty straightforward. I would say this tutorial is like pretty required, unless you just want to fucking figure it out. I talked about most of the stuff. Let's see. We control them, hold them button downs. Yeah. Okay. So like I said, there's 12 missions. So we get started with the first mission, and I'm going to go kind of like what I did with the previous SWAT games. I'm going to go mission to mission, but again, there's a lot more story than just like, oh yeah, this shit's happening, and we're going to go take care of it. So, and there's like an overarching narrative that like everything falls into, which is actually pretty good, and there's like a twist, kind of. I was like, damn, like the PSP game. Figured it out. Anyway. Okay, so mission 1 in the Manhattan subway. So we find out that there's two gangs. There's like the Jopak and like the Jung Sao or something. Anyway, they're attacking each other on the subway. We get a video, and there's like these little movies kind of before every and after every mission, which are adorable. So there's like a news brief, and it kind of talks about stuff and how SWAT and stuff. And then Wolf, who's our main character guy, we find out he's a specialist who helps with like negotiation and stuff, and that he did something else, and he worked against the Sword of Islam group and shut them down from like blowing a whole bunch of stuff up. And then we see in this video, we also see this like janitor looking dude who is shady as fuck, and he's sneaking on over onto the subway. We learn that one of the gangs wants to capture the leader of the other gang from this subway, and there's like, that's how the attack will begun. And then so then we start the mission, and we kind of just cruise through the subway, and we got to find I think this is when we're going to find the briefcase. Anyway, we work really hard, but the head of the other gang, the gang that was trying to kill the head of the other gang, they like were successful in their mission, and so oh well, what are you gonna do? Moving on. Mission 2 is the DHS warehouse. And DHS, if you're not familiar, is like UPS and FedEx, only they do more like big item shipping kind of stuff. Anyway, one of the DHS workers there accidentally found out that like one of the crates had a bunch of weapons in it, and so then these armed guys showed up to get the crate, and they were like, "No, we already called like ATF or whatever." So they stormed in and took over the whole thing, and of course it's the Jopak gang again, or Jaipak or whatever. So we get a fun cut scene of the whole team here: Wolf and Hollywood and the other guy. I actually don't remember if I used Hollywood. Being taken in a helicopter, and then we get this new thing that can occur on occasion. We have no control over it, but in certain levels, it'll be like, hey, there's some snipers, and they see some guy holding like a hostage. Do you want to switch over? And you can switch over, and then you got to like headshot these guys so you can rescue the hostage. And it's one of those things where it's like, if you don't, you don't, which is excellent, because I got real sick and tired in SWAT 4 of like failing missions because like a hostage died, and it's like, man, fuck that hostage. just dock my points down. Like, what's the point of having points if you're gonna like be like, you failed this mission? I understand if I didn't rescue like the one guy that need to be rescued, but again, there's no overarching narrative, so like, fuck you. And so that's kind of fun. Let's see, game runs smooth. Yeah, this level is like huge. It's got these huge 3 parts. At the very end, we see them loading the weapons crate onto like a van, and we're like, oh no, we're too late, and it drives off. And then we see a mysterious person on a nearby, and he like presses a detonator or something, and it blows the fucking truck sky high. Wolf then calls it into the chief, and the chief's like, I have no fucking clue what's going on. Also at that point, this is my first level up characters, which is nice. And okay, so mission 3 is at Grand Central Station. So these gangs, the J-Puk and whoever, the Jeng Sung or whatever, they're back at it. They're fighting each other again. So we need to snag one of the leaders from each so that we can like learn about what's going on or like threaten them or something. We get a little movie of Wolf briefing the team, and then we head in, work through it. We find the leaders, and then also as we're like going through the level, we find out there's like a briefcase of money, and so we got to go find the briefcase of money to return to whoever. When we're interrogating the leaders, we find out that one of the gangs, that both the gangs are from like South Korea, but one of the gangs is like a front for like the North Korean government or something, and that. Let's see, some Sung Hong of access type. Oh, okay, and that they're trying to get access to like a heavy weapons system or something. Or that's how, no, that's what it is. Because of North Korea, that's how they have like access to like more heavy weaponry besides just like pistols and like AR-15s or whatever. They have like some military grade assault, like rifles and stuff, and more advanced stuff, which is fun. The next level, mission 4, is Central Park. So there was a police chase, and the police chase of like one of these gangs ended up in Central Park, and these guys like ran off, and they started taking hostages and stuff. And there's this guy Chung Ho Lei, I think is his name, who is the new head, or he's the head of the Jopak gang, is there. And so let's see, at some point, okay, yeah, so we need to go take care of that. At some point, the game's like, oh, we got to make sure we're reporting in every like 2 minutes or whatever, and then we get a timer. I was like, the fuck? But the timer resets, I think it's actually 3 minutes. It resets back to 3 minutes every time you like capture and interrogate one of the gang members. So it just means you can't just like go in there like guns a-blazing and shoot everybody to death, or you will like automatically lose. So you just gotta like be kind, I guess, and just like non-lethal everybody. At the very end, we take out the bad guy in this like cafe, cute looking thing. Mission 5 is at the Marshall Museum, which is this like air and space museum in New York, apparently. Oh yeah, this whole game takes place in like Manhattan area, New York. So the Jopaks visited, they all like came in here for like a tour or something, and then they started taking hostages, and then they threatened that they want their leader back or they're going to kill everybody. And so they sent the FBI over to negotiate, and we're just there in case like something goes south. And then 8 hours later, something does go south. There's some firing going off, and it's like, all right, go on in. So we go in there, we clear it out. We find that 2 FBI agents were injured, but we were able to save like all the others. Then the FBI guy mentions that there's a pattern of like the Jopaks doing shit, and that it's becoming very like sus, and that the Jopaks are getting much more violent, which is like also concerning. So he wants to bring us in under like the authority of Homeland Security, so that we can like excise more of like this. We can like find out more about this terrorist organization, and that the FBI can like call this like LA SWAT team or this New York SWAT team in directly under the auspice of like Wolf and being like such a badass or whatever. And he's like, "You in?" And we're like, "Yeah, we're in." I'm like, "Don't you have to ask like the chief of police and and like whoever runs the SWAT, like what the fuck?" Whatever, not important. So that takes us to mission 6. Mission 6 takes place in Nakamura Tower. So these assholes have like taken it over, and apparently it's the Jopox that are tied into like Kim Jong-il or whatever in North Korea. So it's like, uh-oh. And then there's some information from the FBI that the head of this Nakamura, like there's a company here at like the Nakamura Tower, and that the head of the tower is like part of the Jopak operation, and so he's closely sided with North Korea. And then apparently something about him trying to buy like a nuke off like the dark web or something. It amped up pretty quick, right? And so then, like, the CFO of, like, the corporation, because he's the CEO, the Jopak guy. And so then the CFO, like, found some, like, strange transactions or whatever, and then confronted him, and so he shot him, and then started, like, and then the Jopaks, like, ran in to, like, take over the place or whatever. And so we got to go in there, rescue the CFO, rescue the hostages, and finally we get to the guy, and he's like holding hostages on like the top floor of this tower or whatever, and then we're like, get down, and he's like, no, you have to protect my family, and we're like, what do you mean protect your family? And he starts shooting at us, and so we just like push him out the window or whatever. He falls to his death. Then like later on, the FBI guy tells us that the family of this dude like disappeared that morning. So clearly when he was talking about saving his family and stuff, there's like more than meets the eye there, which takes us into mission 7, which is an auto supply store in Brooklyn. So apparently the family got taken there, or we tracked them over to that location, like some CCTV cameras or whatever. And so we're gonna like be a little sneaky and drop in on the roof and then move through to try to rescue this family. So the main objective is to get info of on the boss of like the kidnappers or whatever, and then the snipers are gonna like take care of the rest. So we go in there, and there's like some like turban wearing motherfuckers, and I'm like, are these guys supposed to be like Middle East terrorists? Is this related to the Sword of Islam? For fucking Wolf's backstory? Hell yeah, game. Some peak writing. Not gonna lie, it all ties together. I was like, damn, PSP game. Bless your heart. And so we kill these dudes, find out what the boss looks like, head down. The sniper part was kind of hard. I kept like not killing the guys in like one hit, and then they would kill the family, and so I had to like reset. Thank goodness this game has like an auto checkpoint mode. So I reset to like shortly beforehand. So I had to do that a few times before I finally got it. But we finally rescue the family. And then find some dudes there, and they tell us that North Korea, they bought the nuke already, and they brought it to the U.S. Oh no! And that these guys just wanted to make sure that the Gungsungs like paid for, I don't know, something. And then we go over to like the United States president, and he's in a meeting with like his chief of staff, I would assume, or like the head of like the Department of War or whatever it is. And they talk about like they're gonna like do some like pseudo naval exercises over in like the Korean, like over by Korea, just in case they gotta like go into like North Korea and kill the shit out of them or whatever. And so they talk about that, and they like warmonger a whole bunch. And then they the whole point is that they want to make sure that North Korea gets the message that you fuck around and you're gonna find out. So at that point, we head over to Mission 8, which is Coney Island, which is fun. That's like a little theme park in like the Russian part of Brooklyn. So we get a tip from the police that this thing, like whatever's going on at Coney Island, might be somehow related to the nuke thing, like the Russians or something. Anyway, off we go. In this part, again, we need to be sneaky so we can interrogate people. And then we meet up with like a undercover police officer. It seems like, I don't know, he might have just been a regular police officer. And he tells us that some of the Koreans were loading something like real big nearby into like a truck or a hospital or something. Oh no, they loaded it up onto a swift boat, and the swift boat was like captured by the Coast Guard, but it wasn't like not the nukes. We then beat up the spotters and the boss of this like organization in this auto yard or whatever, and we found out that the package, which is a bomb apparently, was moved to an abandoned hospital. And then, so that's Mission 9, which the Jopaks are like facing off against Russians over there, and the Russians are trying to get the bomb for like a different group. And so in this level, we get a fun little thing in addition to the normal stuff. We get a Geiger counter so that we can find there's like open containers of like nuclear waste or something just like lying around this whole hospital. And so we got to like shut the containers as part of like our mission set, and then we got to use it to find the nuke. And also, because it's like an old abandoned hospital and there's no electricity or whatever, we get to use night vision, which all that means is that the whole screen is just kind of like the greenish white from like standard night vision. Now, here's something fun. Not all night vision is green. Some of it is just like white and black. But anyway, so Let's see, green, fun. So then we clear out the top part and get into the basement. And the basement apparently has lights because we don't need night vision anymore for some reason, which seems odd. And then this part seems kind of bugged because at first I rolled in there, I just like killed and captured everybody, and then I got to the nuke, and then there was like nothing I could do, and then the nuke like poisoned me or something, and then it like stopped poisoning me, and then I was like trying to figure, like nothing was clicking, like it was like find the nuke, and I go and find the nuke, and like nothing happened or whatever. And then there's a guy that like I had captured that had like an X over his head, and like, yeah, this game makes it that simple to understand who's important so you don't kill them by literally having an X over their head, which I like, not gonna lie. And that's the technician. The technician has got to like deactivate the nuke or do something with the nuke. And so apparently, so I had to like restart that whole section again because what I don't get, like I don't know if this is a bug or it's just like a one-time thing because I wasn't gonna test this, but it seems like the better course of action is the room with the technician. Like if you see the technician, just like leave him the fuck alone until you get to the nuke, which is at the end of the basement level, and then you can come back and then you can capture the tech, and then that like ends the level because you get like a quest that's like find the technician, and it was like cool, sounds good. But when I found the technician first and tried to interrogate him, like nothing happened. Like I didn't even get like a regular interrogation screen that's like, oh, America, down with America or whatever. Okay, so that works. So we find out that the crate is empty. What? Fuck. Anyway, let's see. Oh, we get more talk about how there was a nuke here, and they're like, what happened to the nuke? What's going on? Who has the nuke? And then we go back to the president again, and him and his advisors are talking about a preemptive strike on North Korea. The fuck? All right, calm down, George Bush. Like, the fuck? Jesus Christ. Anyway, that leads us to mission 10, which is Battery Park, because apparently the nuke's on Ellis Island, so we got to go through Battery Park. So if you're not familiar with the setup in New York, Battery Park is like the big park that takes you to like the ferry. The ferry then can take you to like Ellis Island and also Staten Island. So we get to Battery Park, and now there's like more of these Middle Eastern turban wearing dudes, even though Middle Easterners don't wear turbans. That's a chic thing. Anyway, and then and then there's Koreans, and they're all working together apparently, or so it seems. They've taken over some tenant building in Battery Park, and so we got to go in there. And we see Wolf like bashing the shit out of some Joe Pot guy on like a police car, and he's asking about the nuke and everything. And the dude is like, "Why the fuck would we blow up our own city? We just want to take it over. We don't want to take." It's a whole villain thing. It's like, I'm not trying to destroy the world. I want to take over the world. The fuck would I want to destroy it for? And you're like, that makes sense. You are a crazy lunatic. And it's like, yeah, but I'm not that kind of crazy lunatic. It's like fair. He then tells Wolf about the Hammer of God. So there was like the Sword of Islam that like Wolf took care of before, but now it's the Hammer of God. And this group is that they're the ones who are buying the weapon from the Russians. And then Wolf is like, oh, this whole thing with the Koreans, we playing the whole game, it's been a setup. And that's the twist. The twist is the Koreans had nothing to do with this. They were just doing gang wars and all this stuff about the nukes. It was all like misinformation, and it was actually like this Hammer of Islam guy or the Hammer of God guy. And so he calls the FBI home, and he's like, you got to call the president right fucking now and tell him to like not engage with North Korea. It's all a trick. And then it gets even more complicated. Did we find out about next mission? Oh yeah, that's the next mission. So we'll get the reason why it comes up in mission 11, Ellis Island dorms. So he's like, I'll do what I can. And then the guy who like manages this tenant mentioned that some of the guys, the Islamic guys, were talking about the Ellis Island. So that must be where the nuke's at. So then we head to mission 11, which is the Ellis Island dorms. The president has gone back, and he's like, fuck you, we're not going to back down. I need evidence before I like don't preemptively strike North Korea because I'm a lunatic. And then the FBI is like an hour away from like Ellis Island for some reason, even though there's like 2 FBI offices in New York City, but whatever. And then so we head out to take care of the issue by ourselves. And this level's fucking tough because like I opened a door and there were like 2 or 3 guys just like standing by the door, and I'm like, should have breached. And so but you know, by that point, and then like I get ambushed by guys just seem to be popping up out of nowhere sometimes, or like I'd be in a gunfight with like 3 dudes in one room, and then like a room behind us would like open up and there'd be like 2 or 3 more guys, and like I got through it. But damn, dude, I was getting like ambushed like crazy, and I was like, damn, dude, this whole game has been like nothing but like a smooth breeze, and then all of a sudden it's like a hurricane hits, and I'm like, fuck, I was not prepared. Anyway, eventually we find a guy who was can tell us everything that's going on. And so the deal is this Hammer of God group wants the Americans to stop interfering with Iran. So I guess in this alternative timeline, we're like at war with Iran on some level, or we're just like occupying forces kind of bullshit like we did in Afghanistan and Iraq. But I guess now we're in Iran because fuck Iran or something. Anyway. And so they're going to set the nuke off in New York, blame it on North Korea so that we take all our forces out of Iran and then attack North Korea, which is not like the worst idea ever, to be completely honest. And it seems like it's working pretty well. If it wasn't for like this random SWAT team out of like all the many SWAT teams that exist in New York, just happens to be like this Wolf guy is just like he should have been Captain fucking America instead. So he's like taking care of business here. Anyway. So that's the plan, and that takes us to the final mission, which is mission 12, which is Ellis Island Visitor Center. And so we have to hurry up and turn off the bomb. There's no timer, so we don't really have to hurry up at all. But we get a video of this man, and he's working on the nuke, and he's clearly like Osama bin Laden kind of character, if you know what I mean. Then we hit the room. So we fight our way all the way up to the roof where this guy's at. And then all of a sudden, the other guys are like, we're going to stay back here and guard the rear or whatever. And I'm like, okay, that should be fine, right? Right? It's not. It's not fucking fine. Boo! Wolf's all by himself, and this part sucks. And the reason it sucks is because for the first time in the entire game, you get a dude sniping you off screen. So like you're just like, if you stand there, you will get shot. If you're walking, you will get shot. So you gotta like run, and you gotta like run from like position to position, and then you get to these wide open positions with no place to hide. Well, there'll be like a place to hide, but there'll be bad guys, like other bad guys, not the guy who's like sniping you, standing at like all the locations. So like there's no way for you to hide. Like the one place where you can get behind so you don't get shot by the sniper has like a guy standing right there. So you gotta like take that guy out with like your janky aim and this PlayStation controller or whatever, or run up and just like punch him to death while two other guys are like rushing at you to kill you, and the sniper dude's taking you out. And like I died like 4 or 5 times. This is the one time where I was like, I tried to cheat to get through it, and there was no cheats available readily, so I was like, fuck. So I just kept doing it until like I got like a lucky break, because the bad guy placement is somewhat random. I'm assuming there's like certain locations, but at one point, like the little like vent that comes out of the roof, it's the only place to hide from the sniper in this like little open area. One of the times I came through, and all 3 of the guys in this spot were like on the top side, so I could actually like hide behind this thing while getting shot by like 4 fucking dudes, and that sniper is dead on. And then I would just like sneak. I was throwing flashbangs and like tipping my head out to like shoot and stuff. But again, it's like most of the time it's like you have to like find a way to kill this other guy first. So I can't even imagine playing this in like a harder. I'm not playing on easy. I can't even imagine playing this on a harder difficulty. It sucked. And then there's a couple other guys, like one of the guys, he's just standing by himself. I just like ran past him and ignored him. But so after you get to that point, you climb up the stairs, and then you have like a shoot off with like Osama bin Laden over here. But again, the real hero of like saving the world or saving America at this point was the save state. Allowed me to even get to this point, because once you get there, I kind of just like blow the shit out of him, and he goes down pretty quick. And then the FBI like shows up at the very last second, and we get a cute little video of like the nuke about to explode, and the timer gets to like 1 second before they like pull the cord and make it so it doesn't. And it was like, oh, that's adorable. Then we get a cute scene of like actual real life SWAT guys like doing training in a kill house, and that was adorable. And then like it was kind of cool. I was like, oh, kill house. I haven't done one of those in a while. And then the credits roll, and that's it. That's SWAT. That's SWAT. The fuck is this one called? Targeted Liberty. I have it written down over here. That's SWAT. Tactical Advantage. Tactical Advantage. It was excellent. That might have been the best SWAT game I played, hands down. Like that. I'm not even joking. Like hilariously enough. Like that was, I had the most fun playing that. Like it was the easiest to play in that like things make sense. I asked guys to do things and they would just fucking do them. They wouldn't just like, hey, I want you guys to breach this door and throw some gas in there. And then they'd either not do anything, or they'd breach the door and then throw the gas at the wall so it bounced back into the room where we're all standing in and did absolutely nothing. Which in SWAT 4, I don't know if I mentioned this in that video, that happened more than getting the fucking grenade through the door. And that was with Elite Forces. Like, the fuck, man. Anyway, that game kind of sucked, the more I think about it. Like, SWAT 3 was dead. So the quality of SWAT games is, well, actually, honest to God, SWAT 1, and then Tactical Advantage, and then 3, and then 4, and then 2's not even on the 2. It's like, if 4 is like 5 out of 10, that would make SWAT 2 a negative 5 out of 10, because that is the worst fucking game. That's one of the worst fucking games I've ever played in my entire life. Like, that game sucks so hard. That game is almost as bad as the new Modern Warfare Call of Duty games. Almost, but it's not quite. It's not as offensive. It's awful and impossible to play, but it's not as offensive. So that's it. That's Police Quest. That's all of them. So we're going to wrap up our journey here next week, or in 2 weeks, with Ready or Not. Yeah, Ready or Not, which is not a SWAT game, but it's like of the spirit of SWAT, and it came out and it had like a controversy. So I found like Fit Girl had like the original before they like modded out all the fun stuff, like the child pedophilia stuff. There's no actual child pornography in this that game, but they had like references to like children being abused and stuff like that, and then like to put the game on the PlayStation. I don't know the whole conspiracy. The only reason I know about this game is because of that, and then like other guys were talking about it because it became like hot news, and they know how to like feed the algorithm more than I do, clearly. But we're gonna go play through it, and I'm just gonna talk my little bullshit about it and not really go into depth about it because I don't know, nothing's that deep. People like to make things really deep when they're not. But that's a wrap on SWAT. So go ahead, like, share, subscribe, comment, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.